So, I do want to ask you this question because I had this fucking thought the other day.
Oh God,
How did you and Holly pick your daughter's name?
dude, that was actually it took a long while. I think it wasn't until she was like maybe like 7 months, into her pregnancy. We had, done like,
I thought you were gonna say 7 months after being
oh
born.
yeah, yeah. We didn't have a name for it. We just kept calling it or thing.
Yeah.
No, but like 7 months into her pregnancy, we kind of had done, all the typical things. Went online, saw a bunch of different names, uh, checked all the different fucking lists, and there was just not a name that stood out.
I was the reason I'm asking is because Benexi yesterday was showing me videos just randomly of YouTubers who are like having babies and they make videos about like trying to pick a name, right, with their significant others. And
Hmm.
like, I don't know what it is with famous fucking people
Oh, the names are ridiculous. Always, it's like,
are insane.
this is my son, turquoise yellow leaf the
Dude,
third.
I wrote down some of the names to tell you them. They're fucking crazy, man. They're insane. What is it with okay, my pet peeve with this situation is whenever somebody names their kid anything that they think is cool, my one thing is it's not about you. Okay? Your kid's name has nothing to fucking do with you. Like, you have to think about when they grow up and are they going to get bullied for this fucking name, not whether or not you think it's a fucking cool name, you know?
Well, I mean, in their defense, though, usually it's these people that are fucking multi-millionaires and have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Their kids are typically not going to be bullied. They're going to be pulling up in a fucking Benz, or getting chauffeured to school, or they're probably fucking just getting homeschooled. So, I
There
mean,
was
their dad just bullying them in class.
there was Elysium. That was one.
You said Elysium.
Like that Matt Damon movie from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
Elysium. There was Desert. There
You sure it
was
wasn't dessert?
Ocean. No, it was Desert. uh Goldie.
Goldie? Huh.
Yeah, like a total fucking stripper name, like 100%. Hey, if you're a stripper, I don't give a fuck. But just like, there's a difference between having a performer name and having an actual name, and you wouldn't want to go around like being fucking Goldie
Well, what,
all day 24/7. You know what I mean? Even if you were a stripper, you'd be like, yeah, that's my fucking stripper name.
well, who was that actress? Wasn't it Goldie Hawn?
I don't fucking know. Are you serious? There was an actress called Goldie?
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine it in like the 20s and shit,
No,
but
no,
yeah.
it was later than that. I'm pretty sure she was married to Kurt Russell.
Oh god. Yeah, I guess that makes sense depending on how old she was. If she was married to Kurt Russell.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could be wrong, but I know there was a bitch named Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, there was December, Lemon,
Lemon.
Delta,
I
Hollywood.
I feel like people literally just spun around in a circle and pointed at shit. It's like, I'm gonna name my kid Wall.
You think it was the Kaiser Soze thing from The Usual Suspects, where they just start looking around the room, and he's like, it was mug, chair, lamp, coffee table. When he starts naming the fucking guy Kaiser Soze.
It's basically a game of Clue, a who done it.
Oh god, it was literally the worst fucking thing. Just horrible, fucking horrible. I don't know who the fuck. And it was so funny because the girls would be like, I don't know why, but my husband just thinks that's a dumb name, and I'd be like, you don't know why?
Really, bitch, you don't know why, because naming someone after a water bottle is just not a good move.
One of the fucking names was Glycerin,
Glycerin, like the
like
fucking.
fucking Glycerin, dude. Like, I don't know why he doesn't like the name Glycerin. Wait, what?
That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
This is my son Petroleum. Here, come here, Petroleum. It's literally like the fucking Walker Texas Ranger from Talladega Nights.
Oh my god, yeah.
Where the two kids are named Walker and Texas
No.
Ranger. Like, it's on that level of fucking stupidity. But it just frustrates me so bad because I grew up. My name isn't weird, you know what I mean? But because of the neighborhood that I grew up in, and a lot of the neighborhoods I grew up in, it was a lot of people who didn't know how to fucking say my name. My name is just Sean, but it's spelled Sean.
What do they call you, Scion?
No, they would say scene.
Scene?
Like, yeah, scene. Like fucking retarded people. And you're thinking like, oh, like probably other kids. Adults and teachers.
Have you seen Scene? Has anyone seen Scene?
Dude, it was literally so frustrating as a kid when the teacher would call my name and they would go, Scene, and I would have to think to myself, my God,
you're gonna try to teach
everyone
me?
hired in a school is retarded. Everyone. And you would think like it's a pretty common name. There are a lot of famous people with the name.
Right. Like
who
with
spell
Sean
it the
Penn?
same fucking way. So I grew up disliking my name. I wasn't even bullied for it because it was just a normal name. It was just spelled in an uncommon way to the area that I lived in. But literally, I didn't like my name because I fucking couldn't stand when people would do that shit where they'd get it wrong. So to have people naming their kids some ridiculous bullshit that I know they're gonna get shit for, dude.
No, that's always a mind blowing thing to me because I mean until you're I think probably 18, you can't legally even change your name. I'm assuming. So you're stuck with
No. You can change it earlier than that.
okay.
I think you have to have your parents' permission.
I'll be a dick parent. I'm gonna name my next kid some terrible fucking name, and he's gonna try to change it. I'm like, nah, you don't got my permission, little dickhead.
Yeah, it's like, do you remember that Adam Sandler movie from a few years ago? That's My Boy.
Oh yeah, with what's his
where he
name?
names Andy Samberg Han Solo.
Yeah. And he gets the tattoo on his back.
the New Kids on the Block. He's like,
I actually like that movie. It was terrible, but it was...
I did too. Yeah. I enjoyed it. It was one of those stupid good movies.
Right.
You know, like it's not smart and it's not supposed to be smart. It's just fucking dumb as shit.
Oh yeah,
so
definitely.
Take it for what it is.
Speaking
literally, like
of fucking dumb ass movies and shit, did you see that Nick Cage is going to be playing Joe Exotic in a TV show for...
God.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Right?
Oh God, that sounds so incredible. Oh man, I don't think now that you say it, now that you fucking say
there's no one else that can play him.
Like literally, he wanted David Spade to play him. If you hadn't heard about it, but I think what he did was he requested Joe Dirt, and I guess he didn't know David Spade's name.
I heard he wanted Brad Pitt.
Yeah, he said Brad Pitt or Joe Dirt.
Yeah, that guy.
It was really funny that he was like, "I want Joe Dirt."
Not even the actual actor's name.
Yeah.
Joe Dirt.
Which I would have fucking loved to have seen David Spade play this fucking character because it would have been so fucking funny.
Oh no, for sure.
But now that you say Nick fucking Cage, holy shit, there's nothing I want more than to see this.
Oh, I know. I hope it goes on for like 10 seasons.
This is literally going to be the highlight of the fucking year when it comes out. Holy shit. They can't let this die out. They got to keep giving us updates on the Carole Baskin case that got reopened.
Oh, no, I know. And like I said, it's going to be a 10-season thing. And so it's going to be the new wave, a new era of Cage. We got that Cage rage.
Oh, man, that's so fucking cool. I can't believe it. Hey, did you hear about the fucking CBS fake quarantine video?
You talking about that news reporter that like they had a whole big story about it, like you had to be quarantined and they like had to
No. So CBS, their news network, they were in a hospital in New York, and they had actually like I don't want to say they didn't fabricate the whole thing, but what they did was they had arranged it so that there were extra cars lined up to make it look extra backed up and look more congested around the hospital than it was.
So they kind of like staged it.
Yeah, they staged it essentially to make it look even worse and more like fucking uh what's the word I'm looking for? Just how about just dickatry? They were just like straight up just being cocksuckers, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like if that's not fear mongering to the fucking highest degree,
Well, I
where
mean,
they're
the
literally
thing
like,
that
look at how bad this shit is. You can't even get if you have the virus, you might as well stay home and die. Like you'll never get into this hospital.
well, that's the thing though. They know that that's going to be, the thing that sells or that people are going to, be drawn into is that crazy shit. So they're going to be like, it ultimately boils down to, what advertisers do on the internet with the clickbait shit. They have to have that kind of clickbaity shit. And what's more clickbaity than seeing fucking cars piled around a hospital? And
Yeah,
it's what you're saying. They're cocksuckers for doing that because they're creating this false, you know um
like a false narrative.
exactly. And it's going to
Yeah.
cause people to start panicking when they shouldn't, or not necessarily to that extent, just because they want to portray it that way.
Dude, I was so fucking upset when I heard this shit. Oh my fucking god. What a bunch of assholes. They're literally like terrifying people even more than that's necessary just because they know that during the pandemic, the better the scoop you have, the higher the clicks, the more ratings, the more shares you're going to get because people are constantly checking the news because there's nothing fucking better to do.
Well, I mean, here soon there will be with that Nick Cage, Joe Exotic shit.
Yeah, oh my
I
god.
hope there's another fucking quarantine just so I could binge watch it.
Now we've got the murder hornets to deal with. This bullshit. These fucking have you heard about this or have you seen the fucking videos with this
With
shit?
the Murder Hornet shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a little bit. I was reading some articles and stuff about it.
I saw one where it killed a fucking rat.
Oh, for
Like
real?
it was like and it wasn't just like oh sting it was like attacking the rat. Like you would think like when a bug like stings you, it kind of stings you
It's
and then
like,
it's like flying around, avoiding you. It was like this fucking like hornet was it looked like he was fucking boxing the rat. Like he was like beating the shit out of him.
That's good.
It
They're
was
like how big?
fucking terrifying.
Like 2 inches big, right?
Wait, you're cutting in and out. What was that?
I said how they're about like 2 inches big, right?
Yeah, they're pretty fucking big. It's crazy. I saw somebody holding one in a picture, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I had to check and see if it was like photoshopped or not. I didn't want to like start telling people, "Yeah, they've got them like the size of your fucking finger and shit." Like, no, they're really fucking big, and they're scary as shit looking. It just looks like a fucking mutant. Like,
Dude, I'm telling you,
they're
we're
fucking scary, dude.
yeah, we're literally playing. The whole world's in a game of Jumanji right now.
Oh, we're totally fucked. we're, we're seriously fucked. And I was having this discussion with a guy at work. Not he doesn't work for the same company as me, but we both do the same job, so we ran into each other out
Fucking dick.
in the field. And we were just talking about like how a lot of factory jobs and manufacturing jobs are going to wind up coming back to America because of this, because we've now realized how faulty it is to have all of our uh, products being produced in other countries because these companies realize, oh, it's cheaper to just do it that way. We can have fucking slave labor if we just pay them a penny every 5 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but when it comes down to like what the situation we're in now, where or not all of it, but a majority of our medical supplies and shit are being made
Yeah.
overseas, and
Dude, all of our fucking medical supplies come from China.
yeah, that's a problem.
It's fucking retarded. Like literally when you think about it, it's so fucking stupid that you would think like, oh, like there'll never be a some type of situation where we just can't get things from this other country. Like how the fuck do you know? You don't know. You have to plan for shit like this. This was so terrible. But maybe we talked about how maybe it'll open people's eyes, right? And the idea that like maybe we'll be able to bring some jobs back over here for those things. But then what I was thinking was, how long is that going to last though? So we're already talking about the dwindling, like, workforce here in America of like, what's it called? Andrew Yang's whole platform was all about how like the trucking industry is going to be automated within the next 10 years. Like not 10 years and after that, but within the next 10 years, the whole industry will be automated.
Right.
So it could be 5 years, it could be 7 years, but they're literally working on it right now to get everything automated. They have self-driving fucking trucks that drive within I think it's like 99% perfect driving ratio.
No, it's crazy. I
And
saw some of the videos of that they had of like the self-driving semi trucks and all that stuff. It's like something straight out of a movie.
It's like sci-fi shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's but then you think I was having this discussion. My job is I don't even feel like my job requires should exist. That's how useless my fucking job is.
Right.
I've said it since I started doing my job. My job is pointless. And within 10 years, my job won't exist either. You know what I mean? Even sooner than that, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Andrew Yang was, really onto something. I don't think it's just going to be the trucking industry. There's going to be a lot
that's
of
going to be the first big thing.
Yeah, no,
because,
definitely.
You think about when you go to the grocery store, every couple of months you go there, like if you go to Walmart or even Publix or whatever grocery store that the audience, you guys have in your neighborhood or anything like that, the town you live in, the city you live in, the state you live in, whatever it is, every couple of months you go there, you see new self checkout every single time. After give it 6 months, they'll add 2, 3, 4 new lanes.
Oh, and then honestly, I think with this whole quarantine thing and the way things are going, as far as people using the different apps and stuff for people to just go and pick up their fucking groceries for them and have them delivered. Right. That's going to be a huge game changer. I think that this whole quarantine really kind of got the ball rolling even quicker on that.
Yeah. No, seriously. I mean, it's really illustrated how many jobs can just be done either through automated systems or with one person or a few people. Like, you know how some jobs were sending people home because they were like, well, we only can have a couple of people working.
Yeah, you have to have the essentials.
Yeah, then they started to realize they're just like, oh, wait a minute, we don't need 3 times as many employees to do all of these jobs.
I think, that's also going to be another thing that I think a lot of companies are going to look into and see, hey, during this whole quarantine thing, we realized that the 12 people that we have doing this job could really just be 4 people.
Yeah. No, seriously. I mean, everybody is everyone has wishful thinking for when we go back from quarantine and we finally move past this and everything like that. But the funny thing is, all of these businesses are going to realize whatever is still left open, whatever isn't permanently fucking closed down because of how slow our country was to, try and accommodate with this whole situation going on. So whatever's left, they're going to start to realize immediately. Even right now, they've already realized, wow, we've been able to run things pretty fucking smoothly, even though we had to get rid of 60% of our employees,
It's going to be interesting to see. But then on the flip side of things, it's kind of hard to, compare those numbers of, saying, hey, now during the quarantine and all this shit, we only needed 4 people to do, a job that previously we had 12. But this, it's not the same thing as, regular day-to-day basis kind of, running your business. So that's another thing to take into, account. So it's just going to be really fucking weird.
Hold on. What do I know?
What's that?
What do I know?
Oh, so no, I was just saying,
no, I was just fucking with you because you were like, No,
I kept cutting in and out on my end, so I wanted to repeat it.
No, you're good.
So yeah, no, it's going to be real interesting to see. I think a lot of different businesses are going to have a whole different kind of just floor plan as far as how they operate. It's going to be.
Well, I was talking to Benexi about her job and how she's a teacher, and then I was just thinking, practically, with the direction that we're headed in technologically, how things are going to change from how they are now within the next 20, 30, 40 years. You know what I mean? And we have things in urgent care now, right? So it basically fast tracks your situation of going to an ER. Instead of going to an ER, you can just do this thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think eventually what's going to wind up happening is you're going to wind up being able to like walk up to like a Walgreens, and there's going to be a little tiny like a vending machine almost, that you type in your social security number, you give them your like you tell them your symptoms, they'll take your temperature, they'll check your blood pressure, all that shit, and then it'll diagnose you and then prescribe you some pills. I think that's literally like legitimately, I feel like one day, give it like a decade or two, we're gonna start getting stuff like that, like a little quickie doctor kiosk situation.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, you've seen just here recently, they started doing. I don't remember which company it was, but they started chipping their employees.
Yes, I saw
So
that.
that's
That's
like,
fucking
dude, it's
crazy.
nuts. So they chip them, and it's essentially, like any job, not any job, but a lot of jobs, that are in offices and stuff. They have badges to get access to certain, rooms and shit like that.
Yeah.
So that's what essentially it is. But they, injected them with this chip, so they have it inside their body. That's just
Yeah,
so
and
bizarre to me.
people like to think, it's like the whole discussion going on right now about the government seizing certain powers over our rights because this time is so difficult. But like it's been talked about on so many different podcasts, and it's been debated, and no one's for it except the fucking government. You know what I mean? Because people seem to have this there's like this disillusionment that when the government seizes extra amounts of power, when those difficult times are over, that the government will just give that power back.
Mm.
And that's never been the fucking case. That's just not how it fucking works. You allowed them to take power. Now they don't have to give it back. Because why? Because they have the power. And it's just so fucking stupid. There are people who are literally like, yeah, we need more restrictions. We need more lockdown. We need you guys to be monitoring us, and all of these things that would basically be going against our rights. And I understand that it's a scary time, but what you also have to understand is that when we do make it past this time, they're not going to give us those rights back.
Well, the issue is, like you just said, it is like, a scary time. It is a pandemic kind of shit. So people, get freaked out. They don't know what to do. We've never been anyone, really that's alive now has never been in the situation that we're in, where it's a global, pandemic.
Right.
So, I mean, of
Yeah.
course, there's going to be a certain percentage of those people that are going to be just, they don't know what to do. And they, look to something, they have something, they have to have something to look to be like, hey, you're going to make this better, right? So that's what the issue is.
I'm just saying, man, there'll be a certain point where construction workers, that shit'll be gone. They'll have machines doing all that. You look to the automotive like industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like that shit's all it's automated now. I mean, of course you'll have people fucking overseeing the machines, making sure that they work right and stuff like that. You know what I
But
mean?
you're going to go from like
Whenever something breaks
1,000
down.
people in a factory to maybe 100.
Right. Like you think about like Amazon. Amazon's trying to get rid of their people. Who gives a fuck if they raise the thing to $15 an hour? I don't give a fuck. I'll jerk off on that fucking number. I don't give a shit that they raise it to $15 an hour. Are you kidding me? Because in 10 years, there's not going to be anybody fucking working for Amazon. So what the fuck is the point of the pay raise?
I know, it's just going to
It's
be a
literally
bunch of
just to give them.
drones dropping shit off in
Yeah,
your fucking door.
it's just good publicity for the company itself. Not to say that Jeff Bezos is an asshole or anything like that, because he's not, and none of these companies are, because I'm not against innovation, and I'm not like anti technology or anything like that. I think it's great. I love like the leaps and bounds that we go through and stuff like that. All I'm saying is that our infrastructure is not set up for us to all be out of work all at once.
Oh,
It's not
no.
even set up for us. It's not even set up for like a third of us to be out of fucking work, and that's been the case for the past like decade or so, since the fucking recession. We've just been now climbing out of that hole, and literally we didn't even realize that right next to the hole we were climbing out of was a fucking massive meteor hole that we're just literally like we're climbing out of the hole, and everyone's just tripping into that fucking crater. It's so fucking stupid, dude. We're fucked if we don't realize any of these things. and it's upsetting.
No, I
It's
agree
just
with you on that. Like it is getting kind of crazy. There's certain things though, like that I don't agree with what I've been seeing with some of these like some of the protesting and shit like that. It just irritates the fuck out of me.
oh, like the people like blocking the
Yeah, it's
ambulances.
like how fucking stupid. It's
Oh
like the
my
dumbest and
god.
most childish
Oh, get the
response.
virus.
Yeah,
Get the fucking
those
virus.
are the ones
Oh
that
my
need to be
god, get
fucking
that virus.
eliminated. Like,
I swear to God, you and everyone who was there, get that virus. Oh my God, you motherfuckers. I wish I could go there and fucking. You remember what the fuck was that? I think it was I think it was a fucking protest or something like that. I think it was a Black Lives Matter had a protest, and a bunch of a racist dude like ran through the protest with his car.
oh, and then ran that bitch over, like hit that person.
I love how you're like ran that bitch over. Yeah, the girl that died.
Yeah,
who was like protesting human rights and shit. Yeah. That bitch.
yes, he got her good. Like it was crazy.
No, so honestly, and I'm being hyperbolic just to make that crystal clear for anybody who's fucking like the like that one guy Ginger Sean's friend who was like I don't know if I get the joke that you guys are making. I'm just fucking with you, man. But
We got to get
literally,
that
like,
guy's name.
I know, right? We'll give him a fucking shout out on here. I'm like, you stupid piece of shit. How do you not understand what I'm talking about?
Listen to me, you fucking idiot.
What I was gonna say is, wouldn't it be hilarious if you're watching these assholes protesting like the quarantine, like somebody's recording them from like a fucking skyscraper, and you just like see it, and you're like shaking your head, thinking, "Ah, these pieces of shit," and then a semi truck just barrels through all of them, and
Dude, that would be some shit.
the
Like, I
few of
wouldn't know
them
what the
that are
fuck to
the few of
do.
them that are coherent enough to fucking like stay awake and kind of like get out of the daze of being hit by the fucking truck, try and call 911, but they can't get through because of their stupid fucking protest, so they all just die. And that's the end of my story.
Yo, speaking of just crazy shit about the whole like virus and all that. Did you see? I think it came out this morning or the day before. But I guess there was a professor from the University of Pittsburgh that was involved in some of like the research on the COVID-19 stuff and like trying to find a cure for it.
Okay.
And I guess there was an issue yesterday. I think it was yesterday, where I guess someone came into his house, shot him a bunch of times, and then went to the driveway into his car and then killed himself. And it's an Asian. The professor was Asian, so they got all sorts of like crazy conspiracies going around.
Oh man, this is pissing me off. I saw a video the other day, and this shit made me this shit made me ashamed to be from fucking New York, bro. Cause I saw this fucking video, and this shit pissed me off. Cause okay, there's like an unspoken rule. Everybody fucking knows it. You know what I mean? Like in public. And if you go to a city, you should immediately be able to acclimate to this rule, which is if it's not your problem, you don't get involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean for the most part.
For the most part, right? Exactly. So like, if you're on the fucking train, like the subway and shit, you're in the metro and you're going somewhere. First of all, you don't make eye contact with people. You just fucking don't. And if someone is staring at you, you look right back at them and you'll be like, "Do you have a fucking problem?" Like,
Right.
you know,
Everyone just keep it to
everybody
themselves.
understands
Yeah.
this shit.
Just mind your fucking business.
So these are some of the fucking rules that you get. But this shit pissed me off to the fact that nobody stepped in, because I saw a video of this black dude just attacking this homeless Asian guy, and he was yelling out the most fucked up, terrible, racist shit and like blaming him for the coronavirus.
Oh, it's fucking nuts, dude.
And it was it wasn't like, oh, there's 5 people, 2 of them are old ladies, the other one's like a fucking teenager. It was a crowded fucking crowded. It was so fucking
And when
packed.
everyone was just filming it.
And I don't know if everyone was, but I saw the video, and whoever was filming it, he wasn't doing shit. Nobody said a fucking thing. And honestly, if I was there, I'd have got up and fucking kicked his teeth out. That piece of shit. Like, I don't condone violence, but I will not. Like, I swear to God, I will fucking not stand there and watch some innocent, defenseless person get the shit beat out of them by some racist asshole
No,
who
I
has a
completely.
fucking chip on his shoulder and something to prove to the world. What a cocksucker. And it sucks because I bet you they didn't catch the fucking guy because nobody reported it because, you know, rule number one is if it ain't your business, mind your fucking business.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if I'm in that situation, that immediately becomes my business. If I witness that, that's my business. If I have to be near it, that's my fucking business. That's something that I can't allow to just happen.
No, for sure. Like
And
I
I feel
said,
like
like
if
there's
you are
certain
that
things that you
person,
can't just fucking let happen or let slide.
right? Yeah, if you're that person that can let that happen, please go ahead and stop listening to this podcast. I legitimately don't want anything to fucking do with you. You're a fucking scumbag if you're that fucking person who's like, oh no, I can let this person, like, what if that fucking guy got killed? Like, seriously.
Well, that actually
And they all
brings me up to my next thing that I saw that was just fucking crazy as well. So I guess it happened in February, but the video just got released like the last couple days. And it was of this African American guy that was it was actually happened in Georgia. He was jogging through some neighborhoods and stuff, and he got chased down by in a pickup truck.
Oh, I think I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
and they
about. I
they
saw this
shot him and killed him.
today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, holy shit! And I watched it's like a little, like 40-second little clip of it. Something, it looks like someone else is
Yeah.
following
Oh
him.
man, I saw this
Dude, it
today.
was so
Oh, this
fucking
is so
heartbreaking.
fucked up.
It's
It's horrible.
and it's very similar. I mean, from what I'm reading, you know, the two people that were chasing after this guy was it was an older guy, which was the father of the other guy, which is, I think he was an ex-police, is what I was reading.
Oh fuck.
And
Me,
so they
dude.
started chasing after him because apparently there had been some break-ins in the neighborhood, and he
Yeah.
fit the description, of course.
And he was like jogging.
Yeah, he was like in jogging clothes. Yeah.
And they just fucking like executed.
Yeah, they chased him down like a fucking like an animal and killed him. Like, yeah, they hunted this man.
Oh my god, it was. Oh, I saw that today, dude. Honestly, I was gonna bring it up to you. I was gonna be like, "Hey, do you want to talk about this?"
Yeah, no, that was one of the things I saw, and I was just like, I have to say something because it just fucking, I can't believe
Oh man,
we live in this
fuck,
time and
dude.
age that shit like this would
This whole
happen.
thing is
Still,
this whole thing is putting people in such a fucking bad space. Not to say that situation couldn't have happened anyways, because it sounds like. I think if you're the type of person that could do that, it would have happened regardless of the quarantine. You know what I
but
mean?
I'm sure it's definitely not helping because I
No, it's not helping.
I've seen other stories too, where just
Yeah, like
how these just racist stuff that are coming out that typically you normally wouldn't have seen, but because of how crazy things are going, people are just doing whatever the fuck they want.
I think it was Dave Chappelle. I don't know if it was Dave Chappelle, but it was somebody who talked about racism isn't obvious. It's not in your face. You know what I mean? It's very rare that you see like a racist standing up proudly, showing their face and proclaiming how much more superior they are to other races. You know what I mean? Racism it's sneaky. It's behind the scenes. It's like that. So like for a lot of these sort of situations and cases to be coming out now, it really does emphasize that people are in such a fucking negative headspace that all of their worst qualities are kind of like bubbling to the fucking surface. You know what I mean?
No, it's getting fucking crazy. I saw this article and I had pictures and everything with it. This guy in California, he goes to the grocery store and he's wearing a fucking KKK mask.
Oh
and he's just
my
walking
god,
through the
these
fucking store.
people are insane.
I'm like,
Dude.
who the fuck? Like, how stupid are you? Like,
was that Ari Shaffir?
no, definitely wasn't Ari. It was a fat
Dude,
guy.
fucking imagine Ari.
That would be some shit that they pull the mask off, they start beating the shit out of him, and it's Ari. He's like, hey guys.
You think they pull the mask off? Like they're beating the shit out of him, and then they pull the mask off, and they're like, "Oh, it's that guy that dosed Bert," and then they beat the shit out of him even harder.
And then they get done with that, and like, "Hey, didn't he make that fucked up joke about Kobe?" And they beat the fuck out of him even more.
Oh shit!
And the cool thing is, he always has like the most fucked up tweets and videos of when celebrities die.
Yeah.
He's recorded like every option already for when he does die. So as soon as he dies, he's got his lawyer set up to release the video, and it's just gonna be the most terrible fucking roast of himself.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, I honestly like this whole fucking quarantine. I know it's been rough on a lot of people. I know my family's going through it. Have I told you I talked to my dad recently,
Oh no, you didn't.
and he was trying to persuade me not to take the vaccine when it comes out.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm probably not going to either. I'm gonna wait and see. Because I have you remember?
Oh no. I totally get the whole wait and see thing. Like that's because like there can be a lot of issues in the first.
Oh hell yeah! You remember that movie I Am Legend?
Yeah, is that what you're worried about? Like,
Hell yeah! We all were bitching this whole time about when we wanted the apocalypse, we were thinking more zombies. Bitch, just wait. The vaccine's gonna give us that.
you're worried about an I Am Legend situation. So, in this situation, do you succumb to the zombie apocalypse, or are you?
Bitch, I am Legend.
Yeah.
Instead of a dog,
Is Callie your,
instead of a dog, I have Callie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Uh,
I would love to see you go through the apocalypse and she gets older and she's just a feral child that you've trained to like attack zombies for you like a dog.
oh my god, could you imagine that? That'd be fucking terrible.
Hilarious. And that's the scene where he's in the record store talking to the mannequin.
Oh yeah.
Lost his mind. Yeah, but instead it's like a fucking cutout of like fucking Biggie or some shit, and you're just like, hey, my friend really wanted me to talk to you. Like, you just lost your fucking.
I'm like yo, I'm like your biggest fan, bro. I know I never would do this, but I got some tracks I've been working on. I really think you really like this. I think you really, you and I can collab.
And he doesn't say anything, and you're like, oh no, I mean it's cool, man.
I told.
You're like, here, I'll just scribble down my number, and you try and hand it to him, and he doesn't take it, so it just falls on the ground.
And I end up just beating the shit out of him.
And then you go over to the GameStop across the street, and
because those still exist.
Tomb Raider cutout. You grab the Tomb Raider cutout, and you're like, I'm taking this one home.
The end.
You're like, welcome home, Holly number 2. Like you caress the lips like, and shit.
Number 6,730 thousand.
That's literally been what you've been doing instead of in I Am Legend where he's trying to find a cure for the zombie.
I'm just trying to find cutouts of
yeah. For you to fuck him. Yeah, that's literally that's your mission. That's what you're trying to do. That's what the zombies are trying to stop you from doing. Oh fuck me, dude. Holy shit. Oh my god, man. This whole situation is so funny.
No, dude, it really is. So just
hopefully you guys will find some kind of enjoyment out of whatever it is we're putting out for you during these trying times.
It's been interesting because I mean, technically this is what like the 6th podcast that we've recorded since the quarantine, but this will only be like the second one that you guys will be hearing because due to mostly stuff outside of our control, we ultimately were not able to use some of the podcasts that we recorded.
Yeah, that's a shame. There was some really good moments, and so we recorded I think 2 or 3 episodes that we wound up just not being able to use.
I still want to do something with them ultimately, like not the whole thing, we'll
hold on to them,
but like snippets of it.
Yeah, we'll hold on to them just to see if there's something we can do with them, but they're never going to get released as full podcast episodes because they're so fucking bad.
Oh yeah,
they're so. Wait, can I? I had discussed this with you earlier. It was the whole game developer story thing.
Yes. I think we talked about it yesterday.
But I was wondering, is it cool if I bring it up? Because I know we talked about maybe waiting on it, but I feel like it's kind of fizzling out a little bit now. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to bring it up now, if you feel like I told you yesterday, the whole situation with that, like you know a little bit more about that than I do. So if you feel like it's kind of fizzling out, and it'd be better to kind of just say what we got to say about it now.
Yeah, I say fuck it. Also, in the last episode we did, I know we talked about the whole Susie Lou thing.
Who?
Just to let you guys know, uh, she's like losing all of her fucking shit on her channels.
I love it.
She's.
I want to feel like we are the ones responsible for that because of my beautiful idea. Even though we haven't released the podcast yet.
Yeah, it's not even out. You're taking credit for everything. All the work that all these YouTubers have put in.
I'm just gonna tweet and be like, "You're welcome." First,
you should tweet at her and just be like, "Hey, sorry for getting all your shit taken away."
I'm just gonna tweet her one.
That's my bad,
bitch.
But if you don't know what we're talking about, definitely go back and listen to that episode. It's about a YouTuber who is 100% abusing copyright law.
She's a bitch.
Fair use law. It is illegal what she's doing. It is terrible. It's terrible for the platform, for YouTube, for copyright, all of it. So definitely do not support those kinds of channels. And by those kinds of channels, I mostly mean reaction channels, people that don't actually transform or create anything. They just sit in front of a camera, react to someone else's copywritten material, and then make money off of that.
I mean, okay, no, there is a few like reaction videos like.
No, there are reactions that are transformative.
Yeah.
They fall within transformative because they have criticism, they do parody, they have valid.
But she is not one of those people.
She's not one of them. So if what you're doing is you sit there for the majority of the content, you sit there and every like 10 minutes you go, "Oh my gosh, that's crazy." That's not fucking transformative.
That's just being
You're an asshole and you're stealing people's content, and it is 100% illegal. And then to copyright strike people's content for criticizing you about doing that is also fucking illegal.
Yeah, well, fuck them. Like I said, just listen to the previous podcast to this one, and you'll kind of get a better understanding of our frustration and where we're coming from on that whole situation.
So what I wanted to talk to you guys about was I'm going to be. I can't say the name of the company just in fear of what they've been doing lately. And they have also been illegally copyright striking people's content for being critical of them. So
before you even get into that, do you think, and this kind of like I said, definitely everyone listening, listen to the podcast before this because this a lot ties into that. But do you think that, the whole fact that we are in quarantine right now and the whole checks and balances of, YouTube and all this shit aren't the same as they typically are? Or is it because of how big of a powerhouse this particular company is? Or do you think it's a little bit of both?
For this company, it's 100% just because of how big they are. Because here's the thing, there's not going to be any type of legal action taken against them.
Yeah, no one has the money to match it up. You know what I mean?
It's just never going to happen. YouTube will never uphold them to what they've done, even though what they've done is incredibly illegal. That every single person they've copyright stricken, it's illegal. What they're doing is just 100% wrong. And if you do figure out from the context of what I'm talking about what company it is, I plead you to go look up all of these stories, find out what's going on. It's not going to be that hard once I start describing exactly what it is, because you'll kind of get an idea exactly what the company's called.
They've definitely been super naughty.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been really naughty.
They've been bad.
They've been treating their fans like dogs. So they're a bunch of naughty assholes who have been treating their fans like dogs. Naughty and treating their fans like dogs. So, anyways, this fucking scumbag of a company, they have been copyright striking anyone that's been talking about the leaks for possibly their biggest game coming out, in the next year or this year or whatever you want to call
it. We kind of discussed this yesterday too. It's probably going to be one of the bigger games just released, in general, like, as far as sequels go.
Even with the leaks, because the predecessor is widely regarded and considered to be one of the best games within the last decade or even 2 decades. If you are still having problems trying to figure out what the fuck I'm talking about, get some fucking help, seriously, because I'm not going to say the names of these goddamn fucking things, but seriously, from context clues, you should be able to figure this out.
Remember that thing that we learned when we were in elementary school, when first, learning how to read the whole context clue and all that shit? Yeah.
I don't think Ginger Sean, I don't think he ever learned how to use those.
No, I mean, that guy's a fucking lost hope. I gave up on him a long time ago.
But so basically, people were, YouTubers, especially gaming YouTubers, were commenting about the leaks that had come out, and it was not positive. In fact, it was 100%, I would say, damn near close to 100% negative as shit. It was people shitting on them so hard because the game sounds so fucking terrible.
I know, yeah, you had mentioned yesterday, like one of the main reasons as to people, being upset about it was, just the whole choice on, the way they dealt with characters and, characters from the previous game and all that shit.
Right, yeah.
What else was there, their criticism? Was it the story of the game? Was it the actual gameplay?
So I don't think the gameplay was much of an issue with anyone, because I think from what they have showed of it, people were interested by the gameplay. But when they started to find out the deeper plot points, that's when the cracks started to show. And it definitely shows that this company, this naughty, naughty company, has definitely bent
Dog.
the knee. They've definitely bent the knee to specific kinds of ideologies and no one's fucking happy about it. When people start to pander to specific groups and stuff like that, if it's so bad that even the groups you're trying to pander to are upset by it, then this is the result that you get. Nobody's fucking happy with
and it's getting to the point too, because it's not just, they're not the only people that have been doing it. A lot of other things we've had that discussion as far as like some of the comics we've talked about just off the podcast where
we
they
talked about
did some similar shit.
Marvel's New Warriors. Oh my god!
Was it like fairy fart or like fairy dust or some stupid shit like that? Queef.
There's Trailblazer, who's, I think she's a Native American, like obese girl who has a magic backpack.
She's Dora the Explorer. Okay.
Yeah. There's Safe Space.
Swiper, no swipe. Snowflake.
Safe Space and Snowflake.
Can you imagine okay, so just hear me out. Here's the scenario.
Where's Libtard? That's what I want to know. Where's Libtard?
He's cryogenically frozen right now in mayonnaise.
I'm liberal as fuck, and even I was just like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever seen or heard. That shit was so retarded. And this is why people dunk on like the quote unquote SJWs shit so hard, is because they try so hard and it just comes across as trying so fucking hard.
So I have a theory on that. Do you think they're ultimately trying, like they're just trying so hard like that, or do you think it's almost like a mockery? They're like, fuck these, like
right. That's how I take it.
That's how I would, like, if I was in those categories of people that they're supposedly supposed to be representing and charging whatever. I'd be pissed. I'd be like, this is a terrible fucking representation of me or
whenever
like group of
really
people.
Bad representation of a specific group, regardless of if I'm a part of that group or not. If I see poor representation, either it's not represented enough or it's so bad and so ridiculous that I'm just like, oh, this is just fucking like gaudy and awkward to look at, and I just can't even like, it just makes you cringe. Like, I think we talked about this before in an earlier episode, which was I fucking was so annoyed when I get annoyed when people bring up Disney and they talk about how Disney has been so progressive for like showing gay characters. No, they fucking haven't. No, they haven't. I will fucking fight you tooth and
nail. Well, the thing is, they're really, to be realistic. Okay, go ahead.
Hold on. Like when they're like, oh, they show like representation of gay characters. No, they fucking don't. They pick a character or a side character, and at the end of the movie or in a one-note scene, they'll have them like hold hands with the same-sex character, or they'll make reference to them being gay without actually saying it, or like they did in Beauty and the Beast, where they had Josh Gad's character like kiss a guy at the end or some shit. I don't remember that goddamn movie.
I didn't watch that one.
I'm not going to give credit to a company that is doing the bare fucking minimum to just get claps and likes from people on Twitter.
Well, that's all it is, man. It's just it's clickbait.
Like, you're not doing nearly enough. And then at the same way, I'm not going to fucking validate these idiots that make stupid ass comic books or video games for these goddamn people that just want to be pandered to. Because if all you're concerned about is pandering to a specific group, how are you actually upholding your artistic integrity to make a good product. You're not,
No,
because you're catering to a specific demographic. You're selling out as an artist.
no, that's
You can't make
exactly
anything.
the argument we had, last podcast where we, were discussing some of the criticism that we got, as far as our podcast, and it ultimately boiled down to, if we were to change anything in that aspect, to that particular, statement of, you curse too much, it would take away from who you ultimately are. It's,
Right, yeah.
you're, just at that point, it's pointless because you're not doing what
Right.
you're
The
supposed to
whole
be
point
doing,
of the podcast is for us to have open and honest discussions with each other as
and not
ourselves.
filtered, not censored, not none of that shit.
Exactly. So if we started doing like what that guy said was, I curse too much. Okay, granted, I curse a lot. No one's disputing that. And like when someone tries to tell me, hey, tone it down a little, when you bring it up to me, you're putting it in the front of my mind to be conscious of how many curse words I use. I can't have an open and honest dialogue with someone if all I'm thinking about is, okay, I've already said fuck 5 times. Like I need to be careful because I just can't talk like that. You know what I mean? If I have to constantly be thinking.
Oh, I
So
don't think anyone
for
can. I
me,
mean, at that point, they're just
if you
constantly
want to
thinking
give
about it.
an honest, if your job is to deliver art, and let's be honest, comic books, movies, television, video games, music, all of this is
Yeah,
art.
arts
Clothing,
and
it's
entertainment.
all
Yeah,
art.
arts and entertainment.
It's fucking art. And you cannot give an honest, like, part of yourself, which is what art is. It's a part of you. It comes from you. You build it from yourself, regardless of what art form it is. You can't honestly deliver that product in the most artistic way possible if all you're concerned about is what this one group or this one person is thinking about it. You have to be true to yourself. And you know what? Whenever there is a product that comes along that has inclusivity, you can tell when it's genuine, and you can feel it. You feel it in the characters, the development, the
Well, and
plot,
then
the
that's the
product,
biggest thing too. Like
overall.
my 90%, I'm throwing random numbers up there, but a good majority of these, for instances of these characters that they write about in comics or movies, whatever, they're not even written by people that are in that, considered that target group or that, those people.
Right?
So it's
Yeah.
like, how are you
Yeah.
even gonna say you're supporting this if you're not really even getting the real perspective? And it gets
Right.
kind of weird when you really think about it. And ultimately, it just
I think.
boils down to the fact that they're, they want to be quote unquote woke and get those, the clickbaity stuff. So people like want to get the cheap applause and, oh, look what they're
Right.
doing. They're so progressive. They're so inclusive. Da, da, da. And realistically,
Right.
it's really the opposite. They know that stupid idiot's going to think that, and
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it literally, it goes to show you, like, it's that whole concept of go, what is it, get woke, go broke, and it's not always the case. There are some shows, movies, comic books, blah blah blah, that do catch fire, even though they are widely regarded by most of the community that would enjoy them as hot trash. But when you have an example of art that is genuine, a lot of the times, even the flaws that people find with that, you can look past it because you can see a genuine heart from the artist in it. You know what I mean?
oh no, I mean definitely, like you were saying, you can tell when, especially something like that's art or that falls in that category. You could tell when it's genuinely made from what you are as an artist. Like you fully back that 100%, and that's how
Yeah.
you feel instead of just being this is what they want me to do. So okay, what's to get all the basic cover all the basic needs of this particular people. How what do they like? Okay, this and that, and you basically are just creating a huge stereotype and putting it on
Yeah.
screen
Yeah.
or on paper.
And it can go both ways, even when you're a part of a group and you're writing from the perspective of someone from that group, sometimes you become so jaded because you want to positively represent your own group that you're creating, you're too focused on representing, and you forget about the product actually being an artistic representation of yourself
Right.
and what you bring to the table. So it can go both ways, either way. You know, it's about finding that fine line of passion and ability, of talent and knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, if you're too focused on one thing and you forget the other, then it's just going to be a poor product, you know.
No,
So
definitely, and you can
everyone
see
should keep
that,
that in
and you
mind.
can see it too when you have projects
Yeah,
that are like
you notice it right away when you see something. It's as simple as when you watch a trailer for something, and the first 10 seconds you go, "Oh God,
it's the one of those.
someone pushing another one of these agendas." Like
Hmm.
and it makes people who just want to see good shows feel like assholes, because a lot of the times we're also thinking that too. We're just like, "Oh fuck, another one of these." Like, God damn it. And I don't mind when there's like, if a show wants to get political or have an agenda or something to say. In fact, I love it when it's great.
But
When
it's
it's
got to make
really good.
sense also, and it's got to be done right. Basically, like
Yeah.
you can't just be throwing shit up there just to fucking
Well, you can't just be passionate about it. You have to have the talent to to
to translate. Yeah,
represent that passion. You can't just be informed. You have to have the capability to actually put that down on paper and make it so that everyone goes, "Oh wow, that's really interesting." Don't just don't just tell me something. Don't just preach towards me. Don't just preach at me. Like, bring me along, include me in it so that we can all be a part of this fucking thing. You know what I mean? But ultimately, what even though we got sidetracked on this fucking discussion now, which I'm not even mad about because it was a good discussion, anyways. But what I want to end on with the whole company thing that I was talking about was this game developer started copyright striking YouTube videos that were discussing the leaks, and which is not legal. They don't own the copyright to people discussing their leaks for any video game that they have.
so were they on the videos that they were discussing the leaks? Were they also showing the leaks, or just straight up discussing it?
Okay, so some of them were, but then what wound up happening is that those channels would get rid of the videos or the written stuff. They would take that shit off
Hmm.
so that they could get rid of the strike, and they would still strike their
So
channel
yeah, that's
anyway. So
ridiculous. I
then,
can see if you do have like leaked footage and
well, it gets
stuff,
even
then
worse than
yeah,
that.
but not the fact that you just getting pissed off because people are telling about something that's that happened to be leaked. It's two different
It
things.
gets it gets even worse than that. So then what wound up people started doing, even though everyone acknowledged that what they were doing was illegal in the first place, then they started taking out like specifics. They got rid of spoilers. They didn't talk about specifics for the leaks. They just kind of said it was bad and they didn't show anything. Then they still kept copyright striking those fucking videos. So now the videos don't even say anything. Even if you mention that there are leaks for the game, they were copyright striking, or I'm sorry, copyright. I think they were claiming them. Whatever. Either way, you get 3 of those and your fucking channel's
Dunzo,
erased.
yeah.
So they were just which is a blatant abuse and is illegal for copyright law, because they don't own the copyright to any of those people's videos.
Yeah, because I mean, it's original content, just opinions and thoughts on.
Right. You could make the argument like, hey, they were showing leaks, but still what they were doing was still illegal. Even if you want to make that fucking argument, it's still illegal. So then what wound up happening is everyone stopped giving a fuck about the game being so fucking shitty and only cared about now the company is a piece of shit. So what they wanted to do was get people to stop talking about the game. Now everyone's just talking about how shitty they fucking are because they're fucking idiots.
Those
And it was the
fucking
stupidest decision
dummies.
ever. They could have just ignored it. Like, every fucking game has leaks every year.
Oh yeah, I mean, and
Are you
especially
kidding me?
like we're saying with this game being
You
as
know
big
why?
as it
But
is.
the reason why they did it was because the leaks got out and everyone fucking hated it. Because it'd be different if the leaks got out and everyone loved the fucking leaks and they were like, "Oh, I gotta get the fucking
That's
game."
true.
Everyone saw the leaks and they went, "I'm not playing this fucking game." And if you look it up, people were canceling their pre-orders in droves, in fucking droves.
You know what they need to do at this
And
point? They just need the Sonic the Hedgehog yet. Start all over. Give them what the fans want. Just be like, we fucked up. My bad. Like, give us a couple more months. We'll get this shit
they're
situated.
gonna be like, "Okay, we need like 5 more years to fucking do this game all over from the beginning again."
It was actually, yeah, they're gonna come out like, so all the leaks that you guys saw, that was actually the main character. He was actually just having a terrible nightmare. He was in a coma.
So I mean, I won't say anything, but what I will say, I'm not gonna talk about the leaks or anything like that. It's me personally, I don't really give a fuck because I wasn't a huge fan of the first game. I understand why people love it so much. It is an incredible game. Like, respect where it's due. Like, it's a fucking amazing game. It legitimately wasn't for me. I wasn't a fan of the
I just didn't like the gameplay, the way I like the
I wasn't a
graphics
fan of
were
the gameplay.
amazing. The story was
The
really
graphics were
good.
great. Yeah. I wasn't a fan of the gameplay. I got bored really quick, and I also just wasn't a fan of the story because it felt like
It was predictable, but
it just felt like something I'd seen 1,000 times in like movies and stuff. Like, it wasn't that it was bad. It was great, and they had their own original spin on it. But I just wound up calling everything from start to beginning. So I got
so
really
what
bored
you're
of how
telling
it
me is
ended.
that fuck this company. They need to hire you because that's the only way to make a good game.
Yeah, totally. No, what I'm telling you is that please do not support this fucking company any longer. Like, unless they issue a fucking apology to everybody. I don't give a fuck if you make bad games. I really don't. Like, I don't care if you make bad movies either. But when you start breaking the law because people don't like your fucking games, if people don't like your movies, they don't like your TV shows, blah blah blah. Everyone has the right to have a fucking
Well, I mean that's the
opinion.
whole point
And if you're gonna
of
start
art and
breaking the
shit
law,
like that. It's up to interpretation.
yeah, they just wanted to pander to a fucking specific narrative. And again, I don't give a fuck about that either, as long as you do it good.
Yeah, but
I don't
they
care.
obviously did
And if
not.
you do it bad, then fuck it. You do it bad too, because I wasn't gonna play the game anyway. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
But now I'm never gonna play anything this fucking company makes ever again. And they better fucking issue an apology, because I feel like that's pretty much the sentiment of like most gamers now that know about this story. So I urge everybody to go check out this story of this naughty company that is treating its fans like
Dog, you're crazy with this shit, dude.
So check this shit out. Seriously, they're now they're copyright claiming memes. People
Oh
are
my
making memes
god.
about this shit.
They're taking the
Like,
shit.
as if they own the right. As if they own the right to fucking memes made about them. It's insane.
That is insane.
They're literally fucking scumbags. And I swear to God, I'll never buy a game. I don't give a fuck if they make the fucking greatest game of all time. I don't care. I'll pirate that shit before I buy it from them.
I'm gonna have to look more
They
into
can
the
suck
story
my dick.
then myself.
Oh, it's fucking awful, dude. It's so fucking sick. Like, but all right, I guess we can
I'll
end
say
it here
before we end it, actually, I want to end it. I have a thing I want to end it with.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
Perfect.
randomly just doing, just random research for the podcast, just finding different topics and stuff to talk about. I ran into something that I've never seen before. Have you ever heard of Goodwin's Law?
Goodwin's Law. It sounds familiar. I feel like when you tell me, I bet you I'm gonna go, oh, okay, I know it.
All right.
But no, I can't think of it.
So basically, what Goodwin's Law is on as an online discussion grows longer, the probability of someone comparing it to like Hitler increases. So so there's a game that people play, and they wait until it gets to that point, and then they cut it off, and so they see how long it gets to Goodwin's Law, and they have charts and shit, dude. It's the craziest thing. Like, I dove into this thing for like an hour. I was just like, what the fuck is this? It's the most random
thing. That's fucking
So I was
amazing.
like, we need to get one of our fans to go through our podcast and see how many times I'm sure it's kind of like you've heard of that, like the Kevin Bacon. I don't remember what the fuck is actually called. Like 6 steps from Kevin Bacon, but you could pick like any 6 actors, and you could ultimately pinpoint that they've done a movie with Kevin Bacon, kind of a thing. So it's like in that central.
Oh, like there's some type of connection between everyone in Hollywood and it's Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon.
basically.
I have heard that, where it's like you pick this guy and he did a movie with this guy, and then that guy did a movie with her. Yeah. It all goes back to Kevin Bacon. Yeah, I have heard that before. That's fucking hilarious.
So that's essentially what it was. Yeah, that's what I just thought it was like a random funny thing, and I was like, I think someone else needs to know about this because.
What's funny is that it literally made me think of you know what the Streisand effect is?
Streisand. That does sound familiar as well.
So if you know who Barbara Streisand is, the
Big nose.
the famous yeah the famous fucking singer and like Hollywood actress, and I think she did like
She was in
plays
Meet the
on Broadway.
Fockers and Meet the Parents
Yeah,
and
she was in. She was also that fucking evil cunt in South Park.
oh yeah,
If you
with the
remember.
fucking with the the superheroes and shit.
Yeah.
Mothman and shit.
Where they Neka Streisand, Neka Streisand,
Dude, that
Neka
was such an old
Streisand.
episode. That was like from the early
It's
seasons.
amazing. I love when they're like, all right, let's Rochambeau
Yeah,
for
Rochambeau. I go first.
All right, so the Streisand effect comes from, I think it was the early 2000s. I think it's like 2001, 2002, something like that. Barbara Streisand was trying to make it so that media outlets couldn't take pictures of her house. She didn't want her house to be like available online or in magazines or anything like that. She didn't want people to know where she lived. But because she went to so great of an extent to try and stop people from taking pictures of her house, it made it so that people wanted to know where she lived
Oh,
even
of course,
more.
yeah.
So because of her trying to cover up where she lived, it made it so that everyone wound up knowing where the fuck she lived, what her house looked like, where she was at all times. So it's literally to that same effect the situation with this fucking shitty game developer is that they were literally like, we got to cover up these leaks. We can't let anyone know about it. And if they would have just left it alone, everyone would have just been like, this game is going to be shitty. But the sales still would have been solid because
They
they
still have a fan base behind the original
of all
one.
the people that knew about this story, that would have been like, this game's shitty. And let's say about 30% of them still buy the game to confirm their suspicions, right?
Right.
And then you probably get another like 20% that check it out later on. Ironically, they don't buy it initially, but they'll still buy it a little bit later. But the majority of their fan base doesn't even fall within either of those categories, even close. So like, what effect would it really have fucking had, except for the fact that they knew people were going to be upset by it? Because, and I know this now because they released a trailer today, and today's fucking date is, just so everyone knows, when they look up this trailer, they're like, oh, okay, this is definitely the game. Today is Wednesday, May the 6th, 2020. They released a trailer today for the game.
I'm about to check that trailer out after we're done with this.
The trailer looks good. But here's the thing is that it doesn't show you that, and this was one of the things that people were really mad about, is that you spend half of the entire game. You spend half of the entire game playing as a brand new character that you're most likely going to hate because of certain plot points that actually happen in the story. And I'm not going to divulge what happens, but you'll probably fucking hate. If you love the first game, if you even like the first game, you're going to hate this character. I don't give a fuck. I didn't care about the first game, so I don't really care. But I understand why people would get so upset about this, because you're forced to play as a character you're going to hate for half the fucking game. And then they're going to try and make this character sympathetic to you. But they don't show that at all in the trailer. They released a trailer that makes it look like you play as the character you want to play as for the whole fucking game. So it's misleading as shit.
Well, that's trailers for you, mostly, So they do that shit now.
But they knew that was going to happen. That's why they were so adamant about covering up the leaks, because they knew people were going to they were banking on the fact that people would just pre-order it based on the original game.
Yeah.
Which was what was going to happen. The leaks come out, people start pulling their pre-orders, but even still, their sales will be fine. Really, the thing that's going to tank their fucking games from this point on is the fact that they started doing all this illegal shit.
To be honest with you, we'll see how that even plays out. They may not even see any repercussions from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone who knows the story is probably just never going to buy games from them again. And hopefully everyone just passes that knowledge along to all the other gamers, let them know, hey, if you're going to buy games from this company, do it secondhand, borrow the games, pirate that shit. I don't give a fuck. Pirate that shit. I mean, seriously, download that shit illegally. Like, do not support these fucking assholes. But yeah, I mean, I do know that on the good side, they're losing. They're having to give up their copyright claims, so a lot of people are getting
the strikes back and stuff.
yeah, everything's
Well,
coming
that's
back
good
to
at
all
least. Yeah, because that's the shit that's like that just irritates me. Like similar to that whole
yeah,
Susie bitch. Like it's you're
yeah,
fucking with people's potentially their livelihood as far as,
mm-hmm,
you don't know if that's all they primarily do for, income is their YouTube channel. And if you're falsely flagging them and potentially getting them kicked off,
right,
you're fucking their whole livelihood.
yeah, no, for sure. But all right, guys, I think we